Hi, it's Kyron from Opportunity International here, and today I am joined by our next speaker as part of the Inspired Speaker Series, Sidhara. Now, she has a background in psychology. She's also been involved in social work, not-for-profits, currently is part of a corporate consultancy firm called Lead Different, and she's a pastor. Sidhara, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here. It's awesome to be here and awesome that I get to jump in on everything that Opportunity International is doing. So thanks for letting me be a part of it.
We're very excited, especially November 6th is coming up as the next event, and Sidhara is speaking at that. What can we expect from you on the night?
Well, guess you're going to have to come and find out.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. This has been fun.
It. No, I think what I'm hoping on the night is that we're going to share a little bit about my story, some of my journey. For many of you might not know that I grew up in Sri Lanka, and we grew up at a time where the Civil War was going on, and so that had been going on for 26 years, and we were born into that. And so some of those experiences that have shaped my life, and then moved to England when I was about 19 and went to university there, and then some of those experiences, and I've worked in, like you said, some social justice elements of society, and seen some and met some incredible people, but with extremely difficult and challenging circumstances, and some of those things have shaped my life as well. And then some of the really mundane stuff that we go through, those things have probably shaped my life more than some of these big things, or things that have maybe perhaps been termed life-changing. And so on the night, I think I really want to explore what that looks like, and how maybe sometimes we get in our own way when we want to progress, or when we want to grow. Sometimes we're the biggest barrier to that. And so just looking at my life, maybe someone can learn and have some take some experience and take some inspiration from some of the stuff that I've not done well, which is always a good place to start.
Yes.
But also just thinking about some of the wins along the way, and some of what that's looked like for my journey, and just how some of those experiences have made me, or I've made myself, a noble victim in some of those experiences. So we're going to talk about things like identity and self-esteem and worth, and how sometimes our differences are things that we should celebrate and not look to dampen them down or hide them. And so there's a whole lot in there, but I'm hoping it's going to be a great night, and we're going to leave inspired and equipped maybe to look at our own lives and how we can make a difference in the world.
Thank you. That's quite interesting. There's a whole lot of things that we can unpack there, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the noble victim aspect of it.
Definitely.
Without giving too much away, you talk about some of the mundane things that got in your way. Can you give us maybe a couple of examples of what that might be?
Sure. So, we all live busy lives, and sometimes I think we can wear work as a badge of honor and business as a badge of honor, and we can very easily slip into a noble victim mentality.
Yeah.
And some of those things, or some of our mindsets, some of the mindsets of what we think is possible and what we don't think is possible, and some of the barriers of, I could never do that, or some of those mindsets that keep us in a noble victim position because it pays us and it gives us something, and it gives us sympathy, and it gives us an excuse, and it gives us an option to actually remain as we are, when actually all the while, if we addressed that we are actually making ourselves a noble victim, then we could have moved out of that and actually become everything that we're supposed to be. And so just some of those things. So that's a little teaser.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that. Wonderful. Now, tell me something that you are really passionate about.
That's a good one. I'm passionate about food. I love food, but I'm also passionate about people.
Yes.
And that can sound quite twee, but I think what I mean is I'm really passionate about helping people become the best that they were created to be, or become everything that they were created to be. Because I think a lot of us would identify with, we want to make a difference in the world. We want to make a change in the world, and of course, I'm sure we all do.
Yeah.
But like I said before, sometimes we're our biggest barrier.
Yes.
And so I think if we can move ourselves out of the way, then we have a better chance of actually making an impact in the world and doing what we were created to do, and doing everything that we possibly can do before we kind of check out of the world.
That and food.
And food.
Can you now tell me about like a big mistake that you have made and learned from?
A big mistake. I think my biggest mistake has been probably my earliest mistake that I can remember. So when I was younger, not that much younger, I was probably about 18. So it's very, very much younger now, but at the time. I I was a pretty straight-laced kid. So I was, did well in school. I, came home on time, never missed curfew, that kind of thing. I was a pretty straight-laced kid. But there was this one time where I was going out with this guy, and it was my first boyfriend, and my parents were pretty strict, and so they were like, cool, what time are you coming home, and who's going to drop you? And I was like, my best friend's parents are going to drop me. She's coming to the same event. They were like, oh, okay. Obviously, that wasn't true at the time, and so I was with this guy in the group of our friends, and we just lost track of time and got late, and I got caught in a lie because my parents got worried, and my mom had called, my friend's mom, and she was like, I thought you were bringing her home, and they were like, we're not bringing her home. What do you mean? And that was actually the first time I'd ever told a big lie.
Yeah, right.
White lies, maybe, but a big lie. And that was a huge thing in our household. You'd think I dropped a bank or something. But that was an early mistake, and it may not seem like a huge one to other people, but for me, that was a big deal. But it was the first time I also realized that was incongruent with who I was as a person. Okay. And I've never lost sight of that, because it reminds me of who I am and how I felt being incongruent with myself.
Yes.
And doing something and being somebody that actually I was not. And so I guess to this day, it's been a big learning to me. And it's not just, about telling lies or being truthful, which is, I'm a big advocate of.
Yes, of course.
Do that.
It's a good
That's
thing
good.
to do.
It's a good thing to do. But also in other areas of life, because I think sometimes I can tend to be something I'm not, but I always remember that feeling of when I was something I wasn't, and that was not a good feeling, and it's not something that I want to pursue, and it's not something I want in my life. And so now I think that serves as a reminder to be true to yourself, but also to have integrity with who you are. And that served in all areas of my life, and it's actually helped me to kind of live life in a way that I know that I can put my head on my pillow at night and I can go to sleep soundly knowing that I've lived life with integrity. Doesn't always work out ideally like that. Yes. Let me be the first to say that. But for the majority of the time, it's really actually helped me.
Yeah. Do you have any examples of that? Just kind of throw that off you.
Sure. I think sometimes, perhaps maybe, you are in even simple things. Let me give you a really simple example. Sometimes you're in a meeting or you're in an environment, and, you look around and you're like, wow, what am I even doing here? Am I even supposed to be here? Okay. And then sometimes I think, if you're having conversations and there are people who intimidate you, or you feel like, wow, you're in awe of these people, you admire them. Sometimes I think you can say yes, or you can pretend to be something that you're not.
Yes.
Or you can say, oh yeah, I totally understood what you meant, but I had not a clue. No clue, no idea what you meant.
Yeah.
And even in those little things, I think, why would I just not say, no, actually I didn't understand that. Can you repeat that? Or I'm not familiar with that concept. Actually, would you explain that to me?
Yeah.
And when you start doing that, what you realize is there are, one person there, okay. A fair few people around this table actually had no idea what was happening there, but no one was brave enough to be like, oh, well, I didn't get that. So this idea of pretending to be either something I'm not, or just even in situations that I would maybe find personally intimidating, or I'm in awe of people, I think it's helped me to just be true to myself and just be real and authentic with who I am. And I think people respond to that.
Yes.
Because we might not always think it. We might think we hide it well, but actually, people are smart. They can tell. They can sniff it out. Especially children, but people as well. They're smart. They can sniff it out when you're not being real and when you're not being authentic. And I think people are more likely to trust you and give you trust if you are true to who you are, because there's an integrity in that comes across, and that will only serve you. So that's just a little
really
example.
Powerful.
I think it's a simple one.
Yeah, the ability for you to desire to live in congruence with who you are.
Yeah.
Actually assist you in taking little steps as acts of courage.
Absolutely.
To show up as authentic and real, and creating trust in relationship with people.
That's it. You've put that way better than I just explained it. So that's great. What he said. Yeah.
Thanks. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm very excited about the 6th of November. You can grab tickets at the link next to this video, and Sidhara will be there, and she will do that plus a whole lot more, and it's going to be extraordinary. So we look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you there.